Do you want to change the fate of your children? Do you want them to make more money when they become adult? Today I want to discuss this topic based on the famous Harvard scholar Raj Chetty. Hello everyone, I'm Sam. In my last video, I shared with you one of the 9 dimensions to change fate is Feng Shui. Feng Shui is a very important piece in Chinese culture and wisdom. It's about doing something to important places around you. For example, your living environments, your working environments, and the environments around your ancestors' tomb to boost your energy field and brings good luck to you. I reframed it from a more scientific angle in that video, but today I want to dig deeper on this topic from a real scientific angle based on the study, based on the work of the famous Harvard scholar Raj Chetty. Raj Chetty and his team from Harvard University published a paper in 2018 on the top journal, the Quarterly Journal of Economics by Oxford. The name of this paper is The Impact of Neighborhoods on Intergenerational Mobility, the Childhood Exposure Effects. If you still remember the story I told in my last video, the Mencius' mother moved 3 times for the good of Mencius. By the way, Mencius is the ancient Chinese saint. So Mencius' mother moved 3 times from the cemetery to a market and finally to a place near a school. And in the end, Mencius developed a love for reading. So when he grew up, he finally became a Chinese saint. This paper studies the same topic, how the childhood neighborhoods impact a children's future. When considering a move, I guess many of us will have similar questions like myself. First of all, does moving really help my children's income when he or she become adult? Number 2, what are the characteristics of the places that is a good neighborhood? Number 3, among so many good places, which one should I go? So don't worry, Raj Chetty's study answered all these questions. He answers what are the characteristics of those good places, those good neighborhoods. He also did a quantification on all the counties and commuting zones, helping you define which places are better for you to move. This study is very credible. It studies more than 7 million families who move across commuting zones and uses the income tax records from 1996 to 2012. It used other important variables, which includes parent income, parent location, children income when become adult, employment, college attendance, teenage birth, and marriage. Despite the high-quality data from the government database, the study design is also very sophisticated. It uses very good framework and validates a few times for the assumptions and has very good control for the variables. But the framework itself is very complicated. I'm not going to introduce a lot of details on this framework. Actually, you can go download one of the report and read by yourself. Today, I'm only going to introduce the conclusions and how we can put to good use of its conclusions. Now, let's get to the conclusion part. The conclusion is very clear and assertable, which is the childhood exposure is very important to change your children's upward mobility. If you want to change your children's life outcomes, if you want them to make more money when they become adult, based on the findings of this study, maybe you should move to a better neighborhoods to give your children a better childhood exposure. We need to pay attention to 3 things. Number 1, place matters in intergenerational mobility. The differences we see in outcomes across different neighborhoods are largely due to the causal effects of places, rather than the characteristics of their residents. Number 2, place matters is because of the childhood environments, rather than the differences in the labor market conditions. For example, if you move to a better place right before you enter in the labor market, for example, 23 years old, this will have little impact on your earnings potential. Number 3, you can move at whatever age your children are. But remember, the total childhood exposure time matters. And each year of childhood exposure matters roughly equally. And there is no critical age after which age the returns to living in a better childhood environment falls sharply. There is also a very interesting and important number, 4%, which means your children will converge to permanent residence outcome at 4% each year of exposure in the neighborhood. So if your children move to a new neighborhood at 9 years old, let's assume if he enters neighbor market at 23 years old, so there's a total of 14 years childhood exposure in the new destination, right? And times 4% each year, that is 56%, which means if your children move to a new destination, to a new county, you will, his income when he become adult will have a gain of 56% of the differences between your origin and the destination county. Now, it's very clear that we should move as early as possible so that our children have the longest childhood exposure time to a better destination. We only need to figure out two things. Number one is, what are the characteristics of the good counties? What does it look like? Number two, among so many good candidate counties, which one should I go? There are 6 dimensions to look at to assess whether a place is a good destination to move. There are, number one, there should be less residential segregation. Number 2, there should be less income inequality as measured by Gini coefficient. Number 3, the fraction of single mothers. Number 4, the social capital as measured by crime rates and other indicators. Number 5, the school quality as measured by the test scores. Education is very important to children's growth, as I told the story in my last video. So this is quite a factor to look at. And number 6 is the racial shares. If you want to move to improve your children's upward mobility, then based on Raj Chetty's paper, you can look at the counties in terms of these 6 dimensions to choose one and combine with your own personal situations. Pick one county and then go. But this process will be very intuitive and ambiguous. It can, at its best, serve as a guidance. Don't worry, there is an easy way to do it. Raj Chetty has done a lot of quantification work in its paper, in its study, and he estimated the causal effect of each county in the United States on children's income in adulthood. He compiled a lot of charts. In each county, you will see a number telling you if you move to this county, by how much your children's income will increase for each additional year you spend in this county. The top ranking destinations are typically counties with less concentrated poverty, less income inequality, better schools, a larger shares of 2-parent families, and less crime rates. Now let's get to the details. Take a look at 2 maps first. The first distribution map is for the below median income families. It shows that many of the places that produce the highest incomes are in the rural Midwest, which generate income gains exceeding 24% relative to the average area. Certain parts of the Northeast and the West Coast also generate very good outcomes, with gains above 11%. The Southeast produces some of the worst outcomes for children in low-income families, with income losses exceeding 9.4%. Parts of the industrial Midwest and other areas such as the large Native American reservations in South Dakota and Arizona generate very negative outcomes as well. If you are above medium income family, now let's look at this map. Rural areas produce better outcomes, especially in the Midwest. The Southeast tends to produce worse outcomes, although parts of the South, such as Louisiana and Arkansas, generate considerably better outcomes for the rich than for the poor, thereby amplifying inequality across generations. Perhaps most strikingly, much of the West Coast and parts of the Northeast have the lowest value for the above median income families. Now, here comes an easier version to rate. Based on this table, every additional year spent growing up in Salt Lake City will increase a child's income by 0.17 percentiles relative to an average commuting zone. This estimate implies that growing up in Salt Lake City from birth would increase a children's incomes at age 26 by 10.4% relative to growing up in the average commuting zone. Conversely, at the bottom of the list, every additional year you spend growing up in New Orleans is predicted to reduce a child's income by 0.21 percentiles relative to an average commuting zone. If we drill down to county level, look at this table. For low-income families, DuPage County produces the best outcomes for children from below medium income families among the 100 largest counties. Growing up from birth in DuPage County would increase a child's income by 16% relative to the average county. For children in above median income families, the best county in the United States is Fairfax, which produces an income gain of 11%. And the worst county is Palm Beach, which produces an income loss of 13%. And here is a chart that shows all the important dimensions which will determine whether a place is good or not to move. Now you have everything you need. If you want to find a good place for your child to move, then you can look up into the table and find a good place. Although moving brings a lot of good outcomes, but still there's about 50% of the families do not move. The common concerns are they always fail on renting, they are too busy, the child is too young, they don't want to get into troubles associated with moving. So in the end, the real question you want to ask yourself is that, is it worthwhile to move to balance the life quality of yourself and your children's upward mobility? I'm Sam. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. See you next time.